This is the reminder move for ATM lesson number 193, heels under the pelvis, number 3, lifting the knees. So please lie on your back with both of your arms on either side of your body and gently scan yourself. And just notice and look for the spaces in which your body lifts up away from the floor and where your body gently presses down into the floor. And check from side to side and see if you notice any differences. Now, if you have a good idea of what type of contact you have with the floor, please come up and stand on your knees. Place your right foot standing and lean the toes of the left foot, so as if for running. And then catch the left heel with your left hand, and then move the heel from right to left, or the inside and out. Move it from right to left, and every several movements or so, just kind of correct the standing of your foot so the toes will be bent more. So readjust yourself so you're more on your structure. And you can comfortably lean the hand more on your left heel. And with your right hand, you can lean more on your right knee. Now, as you're leaning more on your right knee, begin to lift the left knee slightly from the floor, just a tiny little bit. And with the hand, push the heel backwards. So your left hand pushes your left heel backwards, and your right hand leans or pushes down on your right knee. And then begin to lift the left knee up and then back down. And then leave this alone and rest for just a moment. Now, back up on your knees, place the left foot standing on the floor and bend the right foot as if for running, so you can lean on the right toes. Put your right hand on the right heel and gently push the heel to the right and to the left. And then move and adjust your foot, your toes in a way that you can lean more on your structure, and then begin to lean and turn that heel in and out. And then lean clearly with your left hand on your left knee. And begin to lift your right knee up off of the ground and then come back down. And then leave this alone and rest for a moment. Now back up onto the knees and lean the toes of both feet on the floor. And gently place your hands behind on the heels. So your right hand is on your right heel, the left hand is on the left heel. And in some comfortable position, make sure that your belly's pushed forward. You're leaning back on your heels, and begin to lift the right knee once and set it down gently, and then lift the left knee once and set it down gently. So it's not lift and clunk down to the ground, it's lift and then let it sink. So it doesn't mean that you have to lift that knee fairly far up off the ground, just a tiny little bit to disengage from the floor and then come down. And eventually over time the distance from the floor will get larger, but to start off with, make it easy and simple. And then leave this alone and rest. Now lie all the way down on your back and rest, and have both of your legs long, your arms down by your sides. And now put both feet standing, so bend your knees, have your feet flat on the floor, and then lift your pelvis up in the air, and catch your right foot with both of your hands. And pull it underneath your pelvis so you can stand on your toes. So just as if you were up on your knees before, have your toes underneath your foot and your foot underneath the pelvis. And you'll have to lift your pelvis up slightly, just a bit, and begin to move your heel to the right and to the left using both of your hands. It's just a slight, tiny little bit, moving the heel in and moving the heel out, or to the right and to the left. And then just for a moment, hold the leg so you can stand on the big toe and the second toe. And without moving the heel, you're going to use your hands to hold your foot stable, move your pelvis to the right, and move your pelvis to the left. So your pelvis slides over the top of your heel, right and left, instead of your heel moving underneath your pelvis. And then leave this alone and let yourself rest. Now again, place the 2 feet flat on the floor, so bend both of your knees. And then this time, catch your left leg and pull your left foot and your left heel underneath your pelvis. Stand on the big toe and the little toe. And gently begin to move your left heel in and out, or right and left. Your pelvis should be fairly high up in the air. Now, leave your heel alone. Don't move it with your hands, but gently move your pelvis to the right and your pelvis to the left. And then leave this alone, lie on your back and rest. Now, come back up to standing on your knees. And this time, extend your toes backwards. So this means that your toenails are down on the ground. And place your right hand behind on your right heel. And gradually lean backwards. And move your right heel in and out, or right and left. And then move to the left side, so your left hand is on your left heel. And then take your left heel in and out. Now try and put both hands on both heels and try and bring the heels closer together. So in and out. So closer together and then further apart from one another. And then try to slowly sit backwards while holding the heels, and then return back up onto your knees. So sit back down in between your feet while holding onto the heels, and then come back on up to your knees. And then leave this alone, let yourself rest. And now, begin by pulling your right foot underneath your pelvis, and then pull your left foot underneath your pelvis. And in this position, you'll pretty much lean on the outer part of the foot, so the weight is primarily going to go onto the smaller toes. And then increase the distance between your legs or your feet. So have your knees fairly spread apart. And then in this position, begin to pull the legs or the ankles with the hands and drive the knees forward and down towards the ground. Not powerfully, not hard, not difficult, but just begin to move forward smoothly, easily, and down towards the ground. So your knees actually carry in an arc and then come back. And then leave this alone and let yourself rest. Now again, come back up to standing on the knees and extend the feet backwards so the toenails are down at the ground. And then with your two hands, lean on your two heels again. And try to sit back in between your feet and then come up and see if it's a little bit more clearly. And then gradually widen your legs so it'll be possible to sit on the floor in between your heels. Now while you're sitting down on the floor, and then get back up on your knees, and then back down on the floor, widen your knees and your feet apart while going down. Now as you begin to go down towards the ground, help the hands move the heels closer together. And as you come up to sitting, take your heels farther apart. As you sit down, bring them closer together, and as you come up, take your heels apart. And again, as you come up and you're taking your heels apart, you're going to push your belly forward. And as you come down and the heels come close together, you'll sink and somewhat slouch just slightly. Now come back on up onto your knees and then lean back on the toes. So on your big toe and your little toe. Put your hands on your heels. And then very gently lift your right knee slightly up off of the ground. And then come down. And then lift the other knee up off of the ground. And then come down. And then leave this alone and let yourself rest. Now come back up on your knees and put your toes as if you're running again and pull the heels closer together and then put the two hands between the knees on the floor. So the heels are going to come close together, your toes may be pointing slightly to the outside, and then your hands will be gently down on the ground. And then as your hands are gently down on the ground, lower your head and lift the two knees from the floor. And sit with the feet, with the heels going down towards the floor. So you'll drive your pelvis backwards, lifting your knees, and then come back down to the floor. And then come back to resting on the knees. Place your left foot on the floor. Bend the right foot and lean on the toes. Put the right hand on the right heel. And the left hand on the left knee. And very gently begin to lift your knee up off of the ground. And then set it back down. And then switch. And then leave this alone, lie on your back and rest. A very challenging lesson, learning how to open up your ankle from your knee and your hip joint in a totally different way. It's a very good joint mobility routine for helping to open up your whole entire ankle and foot. Very challenging lesson, be easy with yourself, but enjoy and notice what improvements you have. Good luck.